Nutnfancy with an incredible part 5 because he's blabbering so much, talking about now the fitment of accessory modules to both the Glock and the Sig. And this goes under the accessories portion of my review points, my talking points is what I like to call them. And as I just showed you, that slides on nice and tight, and it's really nice to have the ability to slide on an illuminator module. In this case, it's an M6 by Streamlight. Nice. Well, guess what? The Sig can do that too. Nowadays, the normal Sig version is the railed version, and it has that Picatinny rail on the bottom of it that's milled. So let's see how this fits, and this is going to be a criticism. Bam, fits good, nice and solid. Wait, there's some movement there. I'm kind of being facetious. I already knew there was going to be movement. There's something about the accessory rail on the Sig that is a little bit different. It is a standard accessory rail in the fact that you can fit things like the M6 illuminator on it, like you see, but it doesn't quite lock up totally solid like it does the Glock. Advantage, Glock. Because on the Glock, it doesn't move at all. It locks up like I just showed you. I've tried several on this guy's Sig, and they all kind of wiggle around a little bit. Man, they're hard to get off, man. Man, that sucker's just hard to get off. But it does come off. So, the accessory rail, yeah, it's nice and we put accessories here, but it does, in my experience, and again, it's just my experience, and maybe it's just the lights I have and have used on them, it just locks up a little bit tighter on the Glock design. Now, there's a lot more to accessories than just laser illuminators and lights. How about sights? Well, that's a draw. I mean, because they both have lots of sights available for them, both non-tritium and tritium moduled sights, kind of like Triticon, Mepro lights, and all those, and all kinds of variations. It's neck and neck. Different triggers, all kinds of accessories. And actually the Sig, this might be an advantage to some people in that it has removable grip plates. Of course, the Glock is integrally molded polymer. There's no grip plates to take off because it's part of the frame right here. But the Sig does have removable grip plates. We can take these screws off. We can put rosewood stippled grips on. We can put aluminum machined grips on. I don't know. Grips made out of rabbit fur. Whatever you want. Rabbit covered fur. I'm being silly, but whatever you want. By the way, going back to simplicity, while it's nice to put grips on, that is yet another thing that can come loose on the Sig. You know, we have grip screws here, and there's a spring under there, and I think it can interfere with the spring, if you put wrong style grip plates on there, you can have some issues with the Sig design. A little vague on that, so I'm not going to speak much more about it. But that is something more that you have to maintain with your Sig design, keeping those screws tight. So back to simplicity, minor thing there. Here I am just wiping my gun off. I just like it clean. Alright, so back to the Glock and Sig on accessories. Both of them have lots of sighting options available, trigger options. I'm going to call it the overall accessories competition a draw between the two. Maybe, just maybe, depending on what you value, having an ability to swap the grips out on the Sig, it may be an advantage Sig to you. To me, I don't care. I love the grips that the Sig comes with. They're much improved. Even this older, where did it go? The other 226 this dude has. This one's nice, but I think these older grips are inferior to the newer ones. These are a lot more stippled and provide a lot more purchase than the older style Sig grips. And if I were him, I would retrofit them with this style grip. It's much nicer as far as traction goes. So, lots of accessories out there. One of the accessories, by the way, and I want to bring this up, and the guy wanted me to mention this because his wife shoots this gun, and that is the short trigger. You can put this short trigger on any Sig pistol. I think they still offer this. And what it does is it cuts down the trigger reach needed for someone who might have small hands. Notice the differences in thickness between the two triggers. So this is a thicker trigger, and what that does is it increases our length of pull a little bit, since our hand has to come up here, and this one milled a lot of that metal out. So what it does effectively is move the trigger rearward for someone who might have small hands. I have shot a Sig outfitted with a short trigger, and I'll tell you, Nutnfancy hated it. Didn't like it. Sucked. This is much preferred. But again, my hands aren't huge, but they fall into the large category. So, back to accessories. I'm going to call it a tie. Lots of accessories for these pistols, and that is another reason why you should seriously consider one of these two designs as your primary defensive gun, because they have been on the market for a long, long time. The Navy SEALs, like I said in part 1, have been using this gun since 1986, and the Glock design ain't far behind. There's been all kinds of agencies that have used that, have used it with great success, and it's been around. When a gun is this successful and this popular, it's going to have a lot of accessories made for it because people can make money off of it. Hey, and what do you know? I forgot to mention sights. Now's a good time to do it as I'm dinking around here, looking down. I'm going to give the sight picture on the two guns. Again, I'm looking through the viewfinder here. I'm going to say it's about neck and neck. They're pretty much identical. Now, this one has, actually they both have night sights. Let's go ahead and turn the light out and take a look-see. Where are those night sights? Man, it's going to be hard for me to see. Let me line it up first because it's really hard to see in the dark. Okay, here's the Glock first. I don't know if the camera can transition. It might not be able to. Oh, there they come. You can see as the camera adjusts, you can see the tritium modules. And then where's the Glock, or the SIGs on the left. This is kind of a ridiculous exercise. Honestly, it's not wasted time. Anyways, you get the point, man. They both have tritium modules. They both work. Same. Ouch, just hit that knock in my hand. Man, that hurt. Anyways, they both have tritium in them. They're both excellent sight pictures. And again, it just depends on what sights you're running on it. I think these are MEPs in this guy's Glock right here, which is actually my favorite sight for the Glock, is a Meprolite tritium. I like them better than Tridges. I think they're brighter and more durable. And then I think these are Sig, factory Sig. I'm not sure who makes them for them. Probably Tridge. They look very Triticon-like for the SIGs. You guys might know. Doesn't really matter. The sight pictures are both. It's a standard 3-dot point. And by the way, Sig was one of the first to develop that sight picture. And actually, on a standard SIG pistol, let me get the older one. It's a good example. Here is the standard SIG sight picture. Single bar dot is what it used to be, and that is a very fast sight picture to pick up if you have the time. Truth be told, in a defensive shooting encounter, you're not going to be using the sights. You're going to be point shooting, pretty much. And again, that defensive encounter is not going to happen at 25 yards. It's probably going to happen 7 yards or less. And you probably won't use the sights. So why do we spend so much time speaking to the sights? Because again, we get back to that scenario with that SP, the security police officer, who killed that bad guy at 70 yards. I don't think he point shot that. I think he used his sights, didn't he? You know he did. Remember, we want more options, not less. Yeah, we're probably going to point shoot our gun in a defensive scenario, but we want the option to use sights. Always go for options. Options are good. Accessories, it's a draw. How about price? Vantage Glock. Big time. I mean, this gun, more or less, and I hate to say prices because then people get all wrapped around the axle. Mine's more, mine's less. You know, let's just say that the SIG is going to be a couple $100 more than your Glock. It's always been that way since the 1980s. I've never seen it change. Which one holds its value better? I mean, if you sell a SIG, this guy's SIG right here is in very good condition. I would almost call that NRA excellent condition. And as such, this gun probably, if he has all the accessories and stuff, you might be able to sell it for $600. I just don't know. I'd have to look in a book of values, but my point is SIGs hold their value. Glocks do too. Glocks hold their value too. All quality guns like this hold their value. But I've seen SIGs like this, these older West German slide marked SIGs, go for $700. They just retain their value. And again, that gets back to what I was telling you about taking care of it. Let's look at this guy took care of his slide. You can see there's some marks right there. And you say, well, that's no big deal. Well, to someone who's buying the gun for collector purposes, it might be. It might knock a little bit of value off. It's minor. Very minor. I kind of like the Glock system, how you just bring these two levers down for the takedown. That's pretty quick. But back to price, the Sig is more expensive. But I can talk for hours on end, as you've seen, about the differences in practicality as I go down my list. But there's also a difference in the intrinsic enjoyment that a knife, a gun, a car, a backpack, a pair of boots, tent, you name it, that it gives you. That you just dig it because you can't put your finger on it. It's just something you like. And I'm totally with that. I understand that. And if anybody understands it, it's Nutnfancy dudes. And for a lot of people, guess what? That's the Sig. That they hold the Glock and they go, yeah, it's a nice gun. I like it. It shoots good. I know all about the reliability and all the cool things that it goes with. But I just dig the Sig. I like how it feels in my hand, the ergonomics. I love the fact that the Navy SEALs have used it for years. I love the fact that cops use it and they love it. By the way, cops mostly chamberless and 40. I think I said that. But these people just dig the Sig. It just turns them on. And I totally, I'm with that. And I am a fan of that too. Because guess what? The Sig does it for me as well. I just love it. And when you love something like that, don't get wrapped up in that $200. Especially if you plan on having that gun the rest of your life. It just doesn't matter. Over a period of 50 years, you think your kids will be all wrapped around the axle that you spent more on this gun? They're going to give you a big old hug and kiss. Thanks, Dad, for making such a smart decision. Pray that we can hang on to them politically. Who knows what's in store for that. Fight to keep them, that's for sure. Price, Sig is expensive, but it's worth it. That's what I'm trying to say. Finally, track record. Guess what? I'm going to go tie. Track record is a tie. Both of these guns are extremely proven in law enforcement and military circles. Very reliable, very accurate, very durable. Nary a complaint. The best way you can tell that that is the truth is just look at who's carrying them in their holsters. And to this day, as of 2008, both the Glock and the Sig are extremely popular law enforcement choices. There are dozens, if not hundreds of agencies that use these guns with great success and have done so for over a decade, maybe even 20 years. And they just love them. They're in the holsters of law enforcement officials for a reason, and that's because they are bet your life reliable, they're bet your life accurate, and on and on. So both these guns have an amazing track record that very few other pistols can even approach. That's just fact. It's indisputable. So there's lots of different versions of the Sig, by the way. Looking in the Sig catalog, there's a beautiful version of the Blackwater 226. Then they've got the Platinum Elite. That's a heavy gun. That's a 42-ounce gun. That's for competition. It's got those aluminum grips I alluded to earlier. Then you go to the Sig 226 Tactical. If you're thinking about outfitting a suppressor, that's probably the one you want to go with. It's got that factory threaded barrel. Nice. Nice. Now the Sig is a tilting barrel design just like the Glock. Notice as it jack this round out. Notice that barrel kind of tips up as we cycle it back. So if you do put a suppressor on, you're military or a registered citizen or whatever, that's an issue. You might want to make sure it will function still with that big old can sitting on the muzzle. Glock especially needs, think like a recoil assister if you put a suppressor on. And of course a threaded barrel. But back to the catalog, Sig 226, that's the tactical version. And there's the Navy version. That's kind of cool. They have like a little anchor in, I don't know, brass or gold inlaid in the side. And for a while they had all the same internals on that gun too. Corrosion resistant. There's a two-tone. I'm running out of time. Let me summarize by saying both these guns are outstanding in terms of weight. Glock wins. Firepower, Glock wins. Durability, reliability, very, very, very slight edge. in reliability to Glock, and then about the same, maybe slight edge in durability as well, like I said. Accuracy, they're both extremely accurate, very ergonomic. Both of them are simple. Glock, by the way, does have fewer parts. That's good. Has fewer controls. It is a simpler gun. It wins in that category. Accessories is a tie. Glock wins in terms of price. If you sense there's a seesawing back and forth, that's exactly what it is. It just seesaws back and forth because these are two prize fighters in the ring duking it out. And in the end, I'm just going to call it a draw. I really am. I just can't say one is better than the other. There are differences between them. The weight is probably the single most important difference. And if I am very concerned with my loadout, as sometimes I would be, I'm going to say the Glock 17 would win. That's my review. Tabletop. Man, did we hit everything or what? Nutnfancy. I'm exhausted from this review, dudes. I hope you liked it. Thanks for the good ratings, for the subscribing, all the nice comments. I love you guys. Keep it real. Be good to your fellow man. Be good out there. We'll see you soon.